What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into a live stream for the first time in a while, doing the NBA content. My name is Jake Nevin. I am here with my beautiful co-host, Dave Oster.
Hey everybody.
How we doing? How we doing, Dave? We are 48 hours away from the NBA season tipping
Yep.
off.
I'm loving it, man. I am absolutely loving it. Basketball is back in full time for me, and I am so excited to talk basketball with you live again. And I hope our fans are equally excited to watch because I know we've been talking a ton of basketball in Discord as of late.
Yeah. So we'll get into housekeeping first. Down below in the description, check out our Patreon. And what?
See what I did there?
Yeah, I
Legend
see
a
what you
little
did. Yeah, good little lead in. Our Patreon and our channel memberships. Dave and I, along with Ricky, probably will be pumping out content all season long. And on Patreon, some of the videos will be posted a week earlier than you will see them on YouTube. And you can support us down below. Also, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell if you want to get notified whenever we do go live or post a video, because there will be impromptu streams throughout the season. Also, what am I at? Down below in the Discord. If you want to click and join the greatest community in the world, we have been talking all off season. And if you're not a big basketball person, you can watch any sport, any topic you really want to talk about. There's usually somebody in the Discord who will have a good conversation with you. But with that being said, I think that's everything. I also do want to say that I believe in the next 48 hours, you're going to see about 6 videos go live from us that are not including this live stream today. You're going to be seeing a divisional preview for every division in the NBA. We talked for an hour on every division. So
at least an hour.
At least an hour. So at least 6 hours of content will be going live on just basketball in the next 48 hours. And Ricky and I will be live on Tuesday night for NFL week, week 6? Week 6 recap. So be there to check that out. But without further ado, let me explain what we're here to do today. We're here to lay it out. This is our hold us to them predictions for the 2021-2022 NBA season. We will be listing 1 through 15 each conference. We will be going through awards. We'll be doing MVP, Most Improved, Defensive Player of the Year, Sixth Man, Rookie of the Year, and Coach of the Year. And then we will be going through our playoffs each and every round, each and every series. Just a fair warning that there is some homerism in some of these in one of these predictions.
Thing on my end, Jake. I appreciate you giving them a warning on your behalf as a 76ers fan with your unrealistic takes.
Yeah, I think that the people in the comments down below will be able to see that that is not the case whenever we get going here. But we are going to be starting with the Eastern Conference. Dave, do you want to go? Do we go 15-1?
Well, yeah, we'll go 15 up.
15 up. Give us your Eastern Conference 2021-2022 NBA predictions.
Okay. Rocking out the bottom of the East. I do have the Orlando Magic. It pains me to say that. They're a dear, dear friend of mine. But I do have the Orlando Magic at 15. At 14, the Pistons. 13, the Cavs. 12, the Wizards. 11, the Raptors. Just missing out on the play-in. Then we enter play-in territory. We go Hornets, Pacers, Knicks. Oh God, am I looking at I'm literally reading yours.
You're literally reading mine. Good job, Dave.
I apologize. Do you want to finish off yours?
So I'm gonna start back and say exactly what I have, so that you can just because Dave, not being smart once again.
The wrong tab.
15 through 10, Magic, Pistons, Cavs, Wizards, Raptors. 10 through 7, getting into the play-in. Hornets, Pacers, Knicks, Bulls. Good job, Dave. 5 through 1, I have the Celtics. 6 through 1, I have the Celtics, the Heat, the Sixers at 4, the Nets at 3, the Hawks at the 2 seed, and the Bucks, not again, but at the 1 seed, the defending champs getting the 1 seed.
You know how I knew that wasn't mine?
Because the Bulls are
I read the Bulls name aloud in the play-in tournament, and I was very confused. I'm like, that's not where the Bulls are going to be.
Well,
because my Eastern Conference looks like this, going from 15-1. Pistons, Magic, Cavs, Raptors, Pacers are on the outside looking in. And then in the play-in tournament, it's Hornets, Celtics, Wizards, Knicks going up. And then, just in the safety zone, Sixers scraping by. Nets above them. Heat above them. Chicago Bulls at the 3. Hawks and Bucks to top it all off.
I mean, I'm not even gonna. We're gonna start with the play. We're gonna start with the teams that missed the playoffs first. We're gonna start with the 11 through 15. So I have the Raptors, Wizards, Cavs, Pistons, and Magic missing out. You have the Pistons, Raptors, Cavs, Magic, and Pistons. So the only team that we disagree on is you have the Wizards in the playoffs, and I have the Pacers in the
Mhm.
play-in. So the Hornets. I'm sorry. We'll start with the bottom five. So the teams that we agree on: the Pistons, the Magic, the Cavs, and the Raptors. I think for the first couple, the Magic, you and I were pretty high on them. We were talking in the offseason. I think both of us kind of had the expectation that Jonathan Isaac and Markelle Fultz would be back early-ish in the season, and both of them haven't even resumed basketball activities yet. I think that's led to both of us being hesitant. Is that your reasoning as well?
Yeah, their two best players potentially, both being now Isaac. Whatever his issues off the court are, and whatever his beliefs are off the court, I am annoyed by, but I am not counting that towards their season ranking. The problem is his health. It's always been his health. He's a defensive player of the year candidate if he can remain healthy for an entire season. He's phenomenal. He's got crazy upside defensively, and it looked like offensively he had shown sparks of being able to put it all together and be a true two-way wing, which was awesome to be a leader of this team. But with his future unknown as far as timeline of return, Markelle Fultz, a guy that I've been a huge believer in his comeback story, same thing, unknown. Jake, I agree with you here, and it's frustrating because I think the Magic have so many young players to watch this year,
Yeah.
and they're going to be entertaining. I don't think they'll necessarily be good without either one of those two core pieces to anchor it down.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Cavs and the Pistons again. I don't think we really need to discuss much because again, we think they both have very good young cores. They're just not there yet. Correct. That's just where they are in their
I
expectations.
mean, good young cores is a stretch, for my opinion, but I think they both have a couple of young, talented pieces.
So
That's as nice as I'm gonna get.
so the Pistons have a good young core now.
They have Sadiq Bey, and they have Kate Cunningham.
Isaiah Stewart,
I mean, Beef Stew is a great backup center.
Killian Hayes.
Might
We're-
be able to play basketball this year.
Oh, so we're gonna give up on Killian. We're giving up on Killian Hayes already.
I'm not Kevin O'Connor. He is not number one in my draft. Okay,
He wasn't on
I am
mine
not.
either.
That's why I'm not Kevin
But it's
O'Connor.
still-
I'm not a.
But you're
huge
giving up on him
buy-in.
after year one.
I'm not giving up on him. I'm just saying that it's unlikely that we'll see him take a massive step from the absolute dumpster fire of a season he had last year. Post-injury return. Let me clarify. Pre-injury return, he didn't look like a basketball player in the NBA. Post-injury return, he at least was, a bottom of the rotation kind of guy. I'm not giving up on him. I'm just starting to set my expectations lower than where they initially were.
Yeah, let me shout out
And I
these
apologize
comments.
to Soapy because I mean
Yeah.
that's yeah.
Let me shout out some of these takes. Jamie, usual in the chat, saying that we'll get to the West. That's the West. He said, so basically you two doubt the power of Cade. Insert soapy rage emote. Power of Cade is great. He'll probably average 17, 7, and 7. We've said this for months,
Yeah.
but the Pistons, I just don't think they're ready yet. Somebody said you can argue the Pistons. Jamie said that. And Tim says Jake hates the Bulls more than he loves the Sixers. I don't know where this comes from, but we'll get into that
True.
whenever we get to future teams. The Cavs, I think the Cavs have a very good young core. You and I are different on Okoro, I believe. I believe in
Yeah.
Okoro. You don't like Okoro. Offensively.
I think he's a role player. Defensively, he's one of the best defenders on the wing, but offensively, I don't know that he will be able to put together this year for this team.
Yeah, that's fair. And then the other team that we agree on is the Raptors. The Raptors are interesting, but they just it seems like again, I think they have a couple of very good players. I love OG, obviously. I love Scotty Barnes. Siakam, this is a big year for him to see if he if he goes back to what he was a couple years ago, or if last year is what he is going to be for the future. Siakam is the X factor on this team, I believe. If he does return to the level we've seen on him earlier in his career, this team could be a play-in team. I just don't necessarily believe that he will.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to admit it because I normally vehemently disagree with this man, but sporting logically, I did a video on the Raptors today, and I think he was spot on. This could be a very good team in the Raptors if everything clicks and you have a nice backcourt of Goran Dragic if they keep him, and Fred VanVleet, OG, Siakam, and insert center, or you go wing heavy and just run out Barnes in the starting lineup. Like, that's fine with me, and I think that team could compete for a playoff spot at the back end. I think they easily could be a 9-10 seed. But I think that Siakam is not your best player on any starting roster. Ball handling duties definitely best with it not in his hands.
Yeah.
And I think that Goran is already out on the team, so I'm not expecting a massive return on him because of that.
Yeah.
With those two things in the air, I think that you're gonna get a good Fred VanVleet year, great Scotty Barnes development year, and we'll see if OG can become the most improved player, take the next step, and be a 20 point a game scorer. But with all that said, it's more likely they're going to be on the outside looking in. That's
Okay.
just my personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think mixing in the playing teams now, I think the Pacers, Hornets, Raptors, Wizards, I think those teams, those four, are
Yep.
all going to be competing for those last two playing spots, and that's going to be separated by like 2 or 3 games. I think those four teams.
Okay.
I think there's a level. I think the Magic, Pistons, and Cavs are the bottom tier of the East. I think the Wizards, Raptors, Hornets, Pacers are the next tier, and then we jump up next to the teams in front of them. Is that? Would you agree with
Yeah,
that
that's
tiering?
it. Yeah, pretty much spot on. The weird thing is like the Pacers, I just have no faith in their medical staff.
It's
Like
fair.
they're
That's fair.
all going to miss games, and I've just already written that off. TJ Warren's not back, not ever going to be back, never going to play basketball like for more than 8 games before getting hurt again. So why am I worried? Karis LeVert going to be an injury factory. Brogdon potentially plays out a whole season. Domantas Sabonis, fingers crossed here. I love the guy, but it's unlikely.
Yeah.
Miles Turner, same thing. Like it feels like year one of Rick Carlisle will be like sifting through the roster to find out like who's going to be here long term with this team and who doesn't make the cut and who's going to get traded out. That's what it feels like to me. That's why I don't think I have expectations for playoffs for them.
That's fair. That's fair. Let's get into the play-in teams. Also, again, if you weren't here for the beginning of the video, the reason we're not going in depth on every single team is there will be divisional previews out for every division in the NBA. So check those videos out down below. Just so it doesn't, because we are skimming through a lot, because we got a lot to talk about in
Yeah.
these predictions. The play-in teams in the East, I have the Hornets, Pacers, Knicks, and Bulls. You have the Hornets, Celtics, Wizards, and Knicks. So the only team that we have, no, two teams. We have the Hornets and the Knicks, both of us.
Mm-hmm.
The Hornets, they're interesting. Obviously, this is LaMelo fan club right here, and who you don't know is in the call is Ricky is monitoring us, and he is also a member of the LaMelo Ball fan club. The Bulls could almost had him, 1 pick away. I'm I'm interested in the Hornets this year. I just have question marks
I
again.
just want to jump
Oh
in
yeah,
really quick. Benny the Bull doing his trying not to tamper out there, but he is recruiting LaMelo Ball. So let's see if there's a little Lonzo
got 6 years.
LaMelo reunion in a
You got
couple
6 years. Yeah, you got 6 years to wait until he's basically out of control from the Hornets side. They're not letting him go a minute before then, I wouldn't think. So I think the Hornets are the Hornets, right? I think they're going to be very interesting. They'd probably rank both.
Kobe White for LaMelo straight up. I'll give you a pick too. That sounds
Rick,
fair.
you're making us look bad.
Yeah,
You're making Bulls
Come on.
fans look bad.
Come
Just
on.
just
Stop.
bring it down a notch.
Dave's
Just
already
one
going to make
notch.
Bulls fans look bad enough in about 10 minutes. You don't need to add on to it right there. So, the Hornets. Big man depth last year with Biyombo and Zeller playing was a giant question. Question. This year, it's a little bit improved with Plum God Millionaire,
Yeah.
and who am I forgetting? I can't think of a name right now. The backup center. Wow, I'm blanking on names right now.
I'm
Whatever
not
it
got
is.
to help you with that problem.
Yeah, shocker. Both of us will probably have this team listed as top 5 on our league pass this year. Like if you have league pass rankings, the Hornets are always that. I just have a question mark on being able to defensively hold up against these top tier teams in the East, especially with how many East teams have offensive firepower this year. And
Yes.
second of all, consistent offense is going to be a question mark, and health is going to be a question mark. LaMelo this time, PJ Washington this time. There's just a lot of guys that everything needs to
Gordon
go right
Hayward.
for this team to be higher.
Over
Gordon
under
Hayward,
45 games.
yes, under 45 probably. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like I agree. They're a super fun team to watch. I think we're all expecting another big step out of Miles Bridges. Watched his breakout year last year enabled by LaMelo Ball, the up-tempo basketball that they played, and the fact that LaMelo is just so good at pushing the pace and throwing lobs. And like he has like literally pinpoint accuracy throwing lobs, creative passes from every angle, and I think that really enables him to play a smaller, faster lineup, which is going to be interesting because I initially thought, I was like, yeah, Plum God's a big plus for this team. But then I went, but does he really fit? Like, are we going to see the trailing 3 be brought into his arsenal? Is that the big move this year? Is they're going to play small, and then when they do have Plumlee in there, he'll be a trailing kind of big. And I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But one way or the other, I agree. It's going to be a very interesting year for them. But I do have them in that, like, they're too good to be at the bottom of the barrel. They're just too good because when LaMelo plays, they win games.
When Gordon Hayward plays, they win a lot of games.
And that's even, I would say that's even better. Like, that guy is so good.
Yeah, agreed. And the Knicks are the other team that we agree on in the play-in. I think last year, I made this point on a couple podcasts, is that every single thing went right for the Knicks last year. They didn't have any major injuries throughout the year. The only negative on their Mitch Rob, sorry.
But they have Nerlens Noel, who is a legit better player than him. So that's
a better player, yeah. I think this year, and we talked about it in the divisional preview, hinders on RJ Barrett being able to take somewhat of a ball handler step. He doesn't have to take the superstar, all-star, whatever jump that a lot of people are pinning him to take. He just needs to be able to, that we saw in the playoffs last year, is that when Randall couldn't get anything going, there was no other option on this team to turn to. Derrick Rose could do it for spurts. No, Derrick Rose could do it for spurts, but he's not the guy who's going to give the ball to
Taj Gibson.
Again, you just
the 2012 Chicago Bulls.
Chicago Bulls are back, baby. Who's the Joakim Noah of the Knicks this year? Nerlens? I guess it would be Nerlens.
If Nerlens could pass the ball, I mean, I guess it would be him. But no, I mean, this is a team that's just so Tom Thibodeau'd that they're not gonna they're gonna play 38 minutes a night for their starters, and they're gonna win a lot of regular season games because of it. But we'll see what's left when it comes to the playoffs. Like, that's the crazy thing with this team is they went into this offseason and they addressed one problem, which was trying to get a point guard, and they went after Kemba Walker, who arguably would be the second best option available in free agency this year after, like, Kyle Lowry's not, sort of free agency.
Yeah, I was gonna say it wasn't a free agency. It was literally, I'm going to Miami.
It might have been a handshake deal. Point being, they got Kemba Walker, and whatever Kemba brings to the table, whatever he's got left in the tank for half a season that he will play, that's how high this team can go. That's the problem is, like, outside of that, Obi, you're hoping on development from Obi Toppin, you're hoping on development from RJ Barrett. I expect to see the rookies for maybe 8 minutes all season. Like, it's just Tom Thibodeau. Like, IQ looked like he developed or emphasized his passing game in the summer league, and I hope to see him keep growing that, helping out with that bench unit. But in all honesty, this team didn't take a step forward. It just feels like adding Kemba kind of makes him dead even with where the expectations probably should be.
Yeah, that's fair. And then the two teams that we disagree on, we already talked about the Wizards. The Celtics are an interesting team. I have the Celtics at 6. You have them at 9, I believe. Yeah. Nice. The Celtics are this, and we talk again, divisional preview videos that will be coming out. We talked about the Celtics at length. I just think the duo of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum is too good to bet against some of these teams that I have below them. Yes, I have the Bulls below them. The Celtics it's just not insane. But the Celtics, they are one of the teams, though, that if a major injury happens to them, they could easily fall out of the playoffs or somewhere around. Udoka coming in, I'm interested to see the changes in mentality, especially ball movement is something that he's emphasized a lot in the preseason. He literally joking as Brad Stevens that they were 30th or something like that in assists last year. So that has to change. I think I'm encouraged. I like Dennis Schroeder on the deal and the role that he's going to play on this team. I think that's a very effective signing. Now, some of the signings, the Al Horford stuff, all this stuff, they're not going to compete or anything, but I think they could get a 6 seed. And I think the Bulls and them will be within a 2 to 3 game stretch of each other for the entire season.
I don't know what you're smoking over there, Jake. I could take some guesses, but I'm not going to go there. I just think that this is a very, I'm trying to think of a nice way to say it. This is a team with very clear limitations because of their roster. Offensively, yes, you have Jason Tatum and you have Jaylen Brown and you have Dennis Schroeder, who is your Kickstarter to get the offense rolling, but you still didn't address having a true point guard. They don't have one. Marcus Smart has been like the do-it-all guy. You love him. If you're a Celtics fan, you hate him if he's on the other team kind of guy. We'll see if he can take another step this year. We've seen him improve his shooting. We've seen him improve his offensive skill set bit by bit, but like, can he get to become like, I'm not saying a floor general, but like a better passer? Their offensive scheme needs to change because giving Jason Tatum the ball and telling him to just do everything is ridiculous. Al Horford will help with that, but I'm not putting my money on a 36-year-old Al Horford helping this team over the top. So I just feel like they have so many issues within their starting lineup, and then you talk about their depth and the issues they have there with unproven guys And I think that's the biggest thing is I criticized Brad Stevens heavily. I'm not sure if you were on the same boat as me last year for the lack of bench time given to the young talent on this team. It felt like they have so many names on this roster where it's like, yeah, we've only seen a couple minutes a night out of these guys. Like, they won't be ready for the playoffs if you don't give them time during the regular season to grow. And I think that was always my frustration with this team. We saw an excellent performance out of Romeo Langford for the first time ever. So again, like, my expectations now for him are through the fucking roof again. And I can't wait to see him go back down to 4 minutes a night because, you know, this is just this team and that's the way they treat their young talent. So I have concerns. I think they have two amazingly talented players on this team. And then everything else is just how far can Jason Tatum carry? And that's why I have them so low in the rankings, because I feel they will lose a lot of these games that should be winnable because their top end talent is so good. But because of their lack of depth and roster talent, they are going to run into these issues.
Fair point. Yeah, I think the only rebuttal I'd have is I think they can add bench talent throughout the season whenever teams start to fall off with their records. That'll be the interesting thing. Again, making these predictions is so hard because if an injury, I hope it doesn't. Yeah. Jason Tatum is one of my favorite players in the entire league. If one of him or Brown misses time, this team takes a dramatic drop off. That is, but that is the thing with a lot of these teams.
We talked about it during the previews again. Not to plug it, but the full video.
We're gonna plug it about 75 times during these predictions.
Because a lot of these conversations kind of come back around. Is this was a team that was horribly hurt by COVID last year? Like they missed so much time. And I think they missed player by player the most time during the regular season for people out to health and safety protocols. So Jason Tatum pre-COVID and then like the COVID return time and then post, like when he actually got 100% healthy, like 3 different seasons basically last year for him. And at his best, he looked insane. Like we're talking top 5 MVP voting Jason Tatum. So that's why I'm super high on him. But I just think that until they have an offensive scheme that fits the talent they've got, like it is just a problem. It really is just a problem not to have a point guard on a roster.
Fair point. We will move past the play-in and we will go to our both of our 6 through 1s. I'll repeat both of them. I had the Celtics, Heat, Sixers, Nets, Hawks, Bucks in reverse order, and Dave had Sixers, Nets, Heat, Bulls, Hawks, Bucks.
Yep.
So we both predict the Bucks and the Hawks is the 1 and the 2 seed.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like they're in a category of their own. We talked about the Bucks got better than last year, which is what they need to do as a championship team. Don't take the year off. This is a improvement year for them, so I'm happy to see it because if you stay status quo and no one gets hurt, then you're just fucked. You're out.
Yeah. Also shout out Retro. He says hi in the chat. First time. Yeah. The Hawks, they had the number 1 record in the East post firing Lloyd Pierce. So I don't think Lloyd Pierce
McMillan went 26-11. Yeah, straight fire, and that's with guys missing major time like DeAndre Hunter, who we all expect to come back and be a huge contributor to a team like this.
Yeah, I agree. I have the Nets at 3. You have the Nets at 5. I assume no Kyrie affects that. You think Harden and Durant will miss time. We did talk about in the divisional preview. I just want to say that we both believe the Nets got better in the offseason. Yeah. It just regular season doesn't matter to them, I assume.
Correct. Yeah, I expect people to take time off during the regular season. I don't think this is a try-hard 82-game kind of team. They're going to let random guys play random amounts of time. It's not necessarily about getting a top seed in the East. It's about being healthy when it matters most.
Right, and the 3 teams left, I have the Heat at 5. You have them at 4.
Yep.
I have the Sixers at 4. You have them at 6. And then I have the Bulls at 7, and you have them at 3. So I don't want to create too much of a conversation about it because this is not a Bulls podcast.
At the clock, this will be a bit.
Go.
I don't know how you can disrespect the Chicago Bulls so fucking much. It's incredible, Jake. I agree with Chet. You hate the Bulls more than you love the Sixers, which is saying something because the Sixers have fucking 1 person with talent on the entire roster. And like, they're a better team. They're a better team because Joel Embiid exists. That's so fucking false of an argument. Like, when you look at the roster top to bottom on the Bulls, we have such a strong start to our roster, and we have great depth throughout. The whole thing was the Bulls aren't going to be able to compete because X. Well, we didn't have a point guard. So we went out and we got 2 of them. We got Lonzo Ball and DeMar DeRozan. We addressed the half-court offense, and we addressed pushing the court, full court, big passing, big plays. I think we did a perfect job addressing our needs on the starting lineup. Vucevic we added last year, obviously, but it feels like a new roster because he will finally be playing with a full, healthy starting unit, whereas Zach was out last year for a major chunk of time. due to COVID, prior to him leaving, we were a fucking 6th seed in the East. I don't know if you remember that, Jake. We were the 6th seed in the East without making that deal happen. So now magically we get worse by adding in Lonzo Ball and DeMar DeRozan. That's an interesting take. Oh yeah, by the way, our bench unit, we added in Alex Caruso. High effort, high defense, huge basketball IQ kind of guy. I don't know how you don't love him. He's exactly what you want. You're the TJ McConnell fan club champion, and you're disrespecting Lonzo Ball like that? Oh, by the way, we take the shit out of teams in the regular season.
I need you to pause.
We didn't even have Kobe White or Pat Williams.
I need you to pause. I need you to pause for a second. Lonzo Ball is one of my favorite players in the league. Don't ever say I'm disrespecting him. I spoke him to the Bulls into existence. Continue.
We have great depth on the bench as far as scoring is concerned, because I don't know if anybody noticed this, but like basically all the credit that Tyler Hero gets, is it just a weird situation where Kobe White gets no respect because they put up exactly the same fucking numbers in exactly the same role, and yet one is seen in one light and the other is just totally thrown off. And I've heard, goddamn Tucker talking about how he should be traded and moved off the Bulls for like a 37-year-old Goran Dragic, which I just want to hit the kid for saying that out loud. Like, how fucking dumb can this is just side shot rage had to happen there. I'm sorry, Jake. It's still bouncing around my head. The point is, bench unit, we are fucking insane. We literally have 4 guards deep on between our starters and bench who are all good or above average as far as either scoring or defense. Either side, plug and play. It's a fantastic lineup we can roll out. We can go small, we can go big as far as lineups are concerned. I literally understand that the biggest problem is rim protection. I don't give a single fuck about that, because if you watch our preseason play, it is going to be entirely offense and then a whole lot of hustle plays on the wing. A whole lot of hustle plays happening at the guard position. Yeah, we're going to play drop coverage with Vucevic to try to protect him. And that's fine. That's we will accept that and we will let it happen. But having 4 extremely high-level talents as far as Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams, DeMar DeRozan, and Vucevic, like 5 guys in our starting lineup, 4 of them are all-star caliber, 3 of them have been all-stars, and you're saying that, our one guy who is a second-year player who is one of the best defensive wings in the NBA, who is a fucking sniper from the outside, like somehow that roster is not going to be good enough to be the top fucking seed, a top seed, not, obviously I put them 3, but like, how are we the fucking 7th seed? How are we a play-in team with that shit?
I'm not debating the Bulls with you today. We can do that throughout the season. So I let you get your little rant off. That's all I want to talk about the Bulls. The other team.
Pussy.
What? We already did the Bulls. We already did the Bulls debate on the preseason. I'm not doing it for a third time.
I'm trying to give the fans what they came here for.
I'm not doing it for a third time. The Heat are the other team that we didn't talk about because you disrespected. You talked about the Sixers. I'm not even having that conversation with you.
You have one fucking talented player.
Heat, that just not true. So the Heat, interesting. We'll get into our awards. We do have a certain Heat player winning multiple awards. Both of us, I believe. Kyle Lowry, obviously the addition to this team. PJ Tucker being an addition to this team. I think this team is more primed for the playoffs than it is for the regular season. Is that something you would agree with?
Yeah, I would. They're a middle-of-the-pack regular season team because of that. I do expect things to happen. Like, obviously, injuries are going to happen regardless. Some of these guys are more prone than others. But, like, Kyle Lowry, it's just night and day what he brings to this offense and defense as far as the Heat are concerned. They're absolutely going to be a defensive monster come the playoffs. They're a juggernaut flat out. And I am terrified of running into them in the playoffs because that is just a team where it's a matchup nightmare no matter how they decide to play you. So between having Jimmy and Lowry both able to cover multiple positions, and then you throw in Bam, who can literally defend fucking anything. Like you said, PJ Tucker's addition to this team, while he's not a great shooter anymore, defensively he can still defend 2 through 5 without a fucking problem. So like, I just feel like they can switch on everything. They're a modern defense, and they can stop fucking almost anyone out there in the East. Yeah,
I agree. That'll do it for the Eastern Conference. The Western Conference, we're going to go a little bit faster in because that was a half an hour on the Eastern Conference. And if we did that, the playoff, it's going to be a 2-hour podcast. And I don't want to make Ricky sit there for 2 hours. So the Western Conference. Dave, can you read your predictions for the Western Conference, please?
All right. I'm on the Dave tab. I'm in the West. And this hurts me to say it, but the Rockets are my worst team in the West. The Rockets are going to be one of the most fun teams in the NBA to watch in the West, but they are by far the worst fucking team in the West. Then from there on, we go with the intentionally tanking Thunder, the Spurs, the Kings, and the Pelicans all on the outside of the play-in tournament. And then in the play-in itself, going again from bottom up, is Grizzlies, Clippers, T-Wolves, Blazers. Some questions I'm sure are there. Then, number 6 in the West, Lakers, Warriors, Mavericks, Nuggets, Suns. Surprise, surprise, the Jazz are back on the top.
All right. So, welcome back to the We Agree podcast. So my Western Conference goes Thunder, Rockets, Kings, Spurs, and Pelicans. My play-in is the T-Wolves, Clippers, Grizzlies, and Blazers. And in the regular season 1 through 6, I have the Warriors, Mavericks, Lakers, Nuggets, Suns. Surprise, surprise, the Jazz at the 1 seed. Can you believe it? The Jazz, just like the most efficient offense in NBA history, is going to be the 1 seed. Okay. Whew. Let's start with the teams outside. This is so easy because we have the same teams. Teams outside of the playoffs looking in. Again, Thunder and Rockets don't need to talk about much. We know what they are. They're young teams trying to rebuild. They'll be 2 of the most exciting teams in the NBA to watch.
Yes.
They just won't be very good.
What's great is we got to watch what they're going to be like all season during the preseason. Like no other team plays their entire roster normally, except for these 2 teams.
Retro
They're both going to go 15 deep.
Retro does not like our disrespect to the Clippers.
Well,
we'll get to that. Yeah, so the Kings, Spurs, and Pelicans, is there a team specifically you want to talk about between those 3?
I read up the Spurs instantly because they don't have a top end talent on this team. This is a good but not great kind of a feel to like their core of the roster. Like they don't have one standout all-star on this roster. Many guys are primed to take that next step. DeJounte Murray could do it. He could become like the next like Russell Westbrook, but like defensive minded instead of like offensive dumb chucker. Keldon Johnson could be Devin Vassell, I wish, but probably is still a year or 2 away. Like they got so many guys who are good but not great, and I think this is a team still waiting to make another move happen. They've got just a lot of depth but not enough top end talent. The Pelicans are just gonna be disappointing because Lonzo left this team and they replaced him with Devontae Graham, and I think that hurts a lot. I like Graham.
And no, it hurts a lot when you replace Lonzo with a guy who's not good at basketball. So that's
He's a good passer and a good shooter from 3, but same problem. Good is okay. I'll put good in air quotes. Point is, this is a team where you are dependent on a healthy Zion Williamson, and as of late, we've seen him weighing in about maybe 320. He's bigger.
Generous.
He's bigger than ever. And I'm not sure how he stays healthy with a front office that seems to try to have his best interest at mind and in heart, but like he's not appreciative of that. So I don't know. This is just. It's a weird year for this roster. I'm super excited to watch Murphy, though. I think that he's an instant plug-and-play, like 15 points a night, NBA level kind of player. So I'm super excited about that because I think that B.I., Murphy, and Zion should be a fantastic group of 3. And we talked about it during our full videos where we break down the entire conference. I'm plugging for the 4th time this show. Valanciunas addition helps space the floor insane amounts compared to having Steven Adams pretend that he can space the floor and instead just clog the paint. So like this roster has talent, but I don't think it's all going to come together this year. And I think that Zion with his injury questions, I can't put any faith in this team making it in the playoffs.
Dying on that James Harden diet from last year.
I don't seriously. What the fuck is wrong?
Yeah, and he's in that gumbo. I mean, the worst city to be in is New Orleans if you like to eat, because that city.
His mom's a nutritionalist.
Yeah, it's funny.
Her fucking job is making sure people eat the right things. And I get it. He has an injury. He had surgery, and recovering from surgery, you're always going to gain some weight. But like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah, that's fair. The only team
he's still going to score 30 on like 60% from the field. It's bullshit. But it's just, I'm very confused.
Still tremendous. The Kings are the Kings. Like we talked about again in our divisional previews that will be up later in the next couple of days. A hot team in the Ben Simmons drama. I don't know what to call it. Trade rumors. I don't know what to call it. But Fox, Mitchell, and Halliburton will be fun to watch. Rashawn Holmes obviously re-signing for them is huge. It's just a question mark again. Luke Walton's the worst coach in the NBA. They didn't fire him for some reason. He's still the coach. They're not going to win with him as coach. I think as simple as that. In the play-in, we both had the same teams. T-Wolves, Clippers, Grizzlies, Blazers. I think the T-Wolves will be pretty like, it'll be them and the Pelicans kind of like going between the 2 spots, and I have the T-Wolves inching them there. And the Clippers, Grizzlies, and Blazers, I think are all going to be within 2 or 3 games of each other the entire year. I know Retro's mad at me having them 9. I could see them being 6. I could see them being 9. And nice. Anywhere in between there, I think they could be. I I like Paul George. I've been a Paul George defender for a long time. This team, I have some valid question marks coming up, and we talked about them again in divisional previews a lot. We talked about Luke Kennard. I know that Retro is very excited about the fact that he's hunting his shot more. We'll see if that holds any consistency. It's a lot of question marks on this Clippers team rather than a lot of solidified, this guy is going to produce, this guy is going to produce night in and night out. It's just a lot of questions.
Yeah, and I mean, you have every right to be optimistic, Retro, because we did watch kind of like the birth of a new talent in Terrence Mann on this roster, somebody who seems like absolutely can take over and fill in a lot of the gap that will be provided because Kawhi will not be playing during this regular season, at least for the overwhelming majority of it at the worst. Like,
The best.
I think that, yeah, fair. Ibaka's a big question mark. Obviously, Hartenstein was a good pickup for them. But again, we'll see if his fouling troubles cause the same issues that we've seen in past years. And I don't even know if it's an issue because it's like, at the end of the day, it feels like the Clippers are always better when they're playing small. So I think that if they use Marooks at the 5 and they just go wing heavy, or Batum at the 5, either or, like they go wing heavy and they can just outmaneuver other teams and kind of get away with it. I feel like they do have the ability to outplay teams because of that, but I don't have a ton of faith in their backcourt for the whole season. Like it's Reggie's Reggie, and I love him. And that playoff run was so out of character that like every Detroit Pistons fan is just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I understand why, because he's not Steph Curry. And if you expect him to be Steph Curry this season, you'll be so mistaken.
I would say he's not even the best Curry, Seth Curry. So I mean, it's just tough. Yeah. The T-Wolves, I'll talk about a little bit. We have these exact conversations like earlier this week.
Yeah.
The T-Wolves,
literally yesterday.
Yeah, literally yesterday. When Anthony Edwards, Karl-Anthony Towns, and D'Angelo Russell played together, this team looked phenomenal. It just hasn't happened enough over the last couple of years. I like the new coaching staff and what they've done with Ant and using him as a primary ball handler more than just sticking him on the wing. He averaged something like 24, 3, and 2 or something the second half of the year whenever the new coaching staff came in. Anthony Edwards is already an elite wing in this league. D'Angelo Russell, McDaniels, Karl-Anthony Towns, this team, and Patrick Beverley now, like, I know Mr. Cardio out there, but this team has like an identity now with this big three. And when they play, they're actually healthy, They looked very good.
No, I mean they were taking games off legit playoff teams at the end of last season. So every reason to be excited about a young team finally turning a leaf. I think we're all kind of rooting for Cat at this point in his career because it's just been like one really bad nightmare of the last 2 years for him. Incredible losses in his personal life. And then on the court, just the frustration of like not being able to ever get to the playoffs outside of Jimmy Butler carrying the fucking weight of the team. And I just feel like this is finally like his time to pop off and show that like, hey, I am an elite talented center. I should be in the same conversation as Embiid. I should be in the same conversation as Nikola Jokic and Anthony Davis. Like he is, a top talented center, but it's just, it never comes together for an entire season for him for one reason or another. So it's one of those teams where it's like, I think it's more of a sentimental pick than a logical pick, but there are reasons to believe in, all that young talent coming together under a head coach that they had some success to carry on from last year. They got that momentum rolling.
Yeah, I'll agree. And Grizzlies and Blazers, I think Blazers speak for themselves. A lot of question marks on the bench, but they have Damian Lillard.
Dennis Smith Jr. made the roster.
And the Grizzlies, we talked Jaren Jackson Jr. This is a make or break year for him if he stays healthy. This team could take somewhat of a jump, but I think they're kind of locked into this tier in the Western Conference. John Morant's phenomenal. Jalen Drooks, we know him. Slow-mo, like this team is very good. It'll be interesting to see the change from Jonas Valanciunas to Steven Adams. If Jaren Jackson Jr. can stay healthy for a full year, that team will be interesting. But with that, we will move in to our 6 through 1. I will repeat. I have 6 Warriors, Mavericks, Lakers, Nuggets, Suns, Jazz, and Dave has Lakers, Warriors, Mavericks, Nuggets, Suns, Jazz. Very similar. I think is literally the only difference is I have the Lakers a little bit higher and you have them a little bit lower. See, this is the only reason I have the Lakers a little bit higher is the second half fuck you Russell Westbrook that comes out each and every year. That'll raise them a couple games because while I'm not a Russell Westbrook fan, in the second half of every season, for some reason, it just clicks and he just falls out.
Yeah.
Second half of the season every year. The Mavericks and the Warriors. So I guess we'll talk about it in tiers. The Lakers, Mavericks, Warriors. We both have 4, 5, 6 in some iteration. I guess the Mavericks, this is just how good Luka Doncic is.
Yep.
Right? Like that's really there's so many question marks on this team. Porzingis has played well in the preseason, but this is strictly because Luka's just Luka.
Yeah, I mean that's all my money that I could throw in the middle of the circle on Luka Doncic. I did 3 years ago. Like
Yeah.
I've been all in on this kid since I watched him play in Europe, and his impact to a team is so massive. Like it's James Harden carry job from 3 years ago kind of style. It's insane how good he is. If KP resembles anything close to KP, yes, this team is right at the top of the Western Conference. And they have so many holes in this roster. Like it's literally like role players and then those two. And I know that's like how you create a good roster, but like man, they need fucking help. This roster cannot be complete. I am banking on the fact that they are acquiring Goran Dragic.
And Boban played playoff minutes last year in a big playoff series. That is all you really need to know about a team. The Warriors are interesting. We don't know when Clay is coming back. December, January, sometime like that is the assumption. I think that's why we have them lows, because we don't really know when Clay is coming back. This team is still, again, very good. We both were very complimentary about them in our preview video. Like, we like a lot of their pieces. In our preview videos, we bought one and sold one of every player from every team. And I'm very high on Andrew Wiggins this year. At least he can play in all the games. That's a good sign for this team. And then the Lakers. And then the Lakers, the Lakers are the Lakers. I think they're ready for the playoffs, and the regular season is much like the Nets in their case, and they're just like, we'll get a top 6 seed and we'll move on, right?
Yeah, I 100% believe that it won't be maximum effort regular season. LeBron clearly wants to win games, though. It's bad when in the preseason you see LeBron get angry over a game state, and like he just wants to stay in to try to help win games. So he clearly cares, but I think that overall, this whole season and all of the older members of the team that they've added is one intention. That's to win a championship. So regular season. I mean, I guarantee you we'll see games in like March where it's like Russ and a bunch of fucking like kids like playing basketball, because AD will be resting, LeBron will be resting. Baby. Like Austin Reeves, Monk, Nunn,
PhD,
PhD,
and who's the? Oh no, who am I thinking of? The center, not Dwight. There's
Dwight. What are you doing?
Whoever it is.
Yeah, I mean my honest feelings are they're entirely focused on postseason success, and they're going to be pretty successful at it. But regular season is just let's get there.
Yeah, I agree. And then we'll talk about the last tier that we have. We both have exactly in order 1 through 3: Jazz, Suns, Nuggets. If I could buy stock on one team for the playoffs, it is the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets, when they get Jamal Murray back, are going to be I think they were the best team in the West when they were fully healthy last year. I will stick by that take. Yep. Jamal Murray comes back and he gets healthy. Jamal, Michael Porter Jr., Jokic, and then Aaron Gordon. I think that is such
a bench.
Bench.
Do me dirty.
Morris. You can talk. Listen, if Bol gets minutes, it's just over. I'm just telling you, it's over. He's not going to get minutes, but it's over. And then you have the annoying Campazzo come off the bench, and he's just a bullet of energy where he just looks like he doesn't belong in the NBA, but then you see him play, and you're like, that guy can play. That's simply as that. The Suns, Mikal Bridges obviously signed his 4-year, $90 million extension today. Great deal for both sides, $22.5 million annual value. I think for the Suns, that's a great value, and I think for Bridges, I think he probably could have gotten more, but you nail down the $90 million guaranteed, basically. Now the interesting part is going to be, are they going to pay DeAndre Ayton his money? Because now he's going to be like, you just gave Mikal $90 million. Where's my max? Where's my rookie max deal? I think we both just think that the Suns and the Jazz. We'll get more into the Suns when the playoffs when we start talking about our brackets. But the Jazz are phenomenal. They're most effective offense, one of the most effective offenses in history, I believe it was last year. Their ball movement, their ability to plug and play basically anybody into this system. You put Donovan Mitchell to the bench, you have Jordan Clarkson come out, and Jordan Clarkson just was the best player from any bench unit. Obviously, he won 6th Man of the Year, but they had the top 2 candidates. They had Joe Ingles and they had Jordan Clarkson. You cannot give the Jazz team enough credit.
I literally joked for half a season about how Jordan Clarkson might as well just be Donovan Mitchell, because whenever Mitchell was out and Clarkson stepped in, it looked like the same stat line. Like it literally just felt like it was just seamless transition, because they have the right style of talent to fit the offensive scheme at every single position, which is so incredibly important for continuity of that team. And as they added in a massive piece this year, Jake, their massive bench piece they added this year. How excited are you about watching Jared Butler be the guy off the bench this year now?
I mean, I'm so excited to watch Jared Butler, Joe Ingles, and Jordan Clarkson off the bench.
And Eric Pascal.
And I mean, yeah, you're a little bit higher on Pascal
And Rudy
than I am,
Gay.
and Rudy Gay.
Like how
this
fucking
team's
sick is that bench,
unbelievable.
guys?
This team is unbelievable. Like genuinely,
Ugh.
they are perfectly built for the regular season and postseason with how much depth they have. I think Quinn Snyder is one of the best coaches in the entirety of the NBA. I
now,
think
some questions could be raised about his playoff decision making.
Agreed. Last year, years prior, I think they just lost because they were the worst team.
Yeah.
Last year, this will be a big year for him. I think they ball out in the regular season, but again, we all expect that from them. The postseason is where their money is going to be made. Dave, we will move into awards. We'll start at the bottom, the more interesting one. We'll go with Coach of the Year. I have Quinn Snyder, the Utah Jazz. I believe they will win 60 games, 65 games, something like that. They're going to win an insane amount of games, and who will get Coach of the Year? Your Coach of the Year is?
Nate McMillan, continuing on from the momentum of last year, as I said earlier, 26-11 as the interim head coach of the Atlanta Hawks. I think he'll get the second seed overall in the East, and I think that will be a big enough turnaround to propel him to Coach of the Year.
Agreed. Rookie of the Year, you have?
This pains me to say.
Yeah, I can't believe it, man.
Cade Cunningham will win Rookie of the Year because he will fill the stat line more than anyone else, with the exception, I wonder... the outside dark horse for this award is Scotty Barnes in my mind.
Yeah.
I feel like Cade is just going to fill out all the columns, and that is what is going to win an award.
Rookie of the Year does not determine who the better player is, but I will pick Jalen Green because he is such a phenomenal talent, and his scoring ability is going to be, his highlight reel is going to be insane in his first year. We'll go Defensive Player of the Year first because the next two kind of run over each other. So we'll go Defensive Player of the Year. I have Joel Embiid. You know, I got to go with, this is my really only homer pick, really like strong homer pick. This
outside of their Eastern Conference playoff, but yeah, sure.
We haven't even gone to the playoffs.
The placement of your team.
I was gonna say, I literally don't even have the Sixers winning a playoff series. I don't know what you're talking about homers. Joel Embiid, if he stays healthy, he should be Defensive Player of the Year. Question mark will always be health. I will always be optimistic. Last year he was fairly healthy, minus the freak injury in Washington, where his knee basically just buckled. So as long as he can stay healthy, I think he is more of a chance of anybody than winning Defensive Player of the Year.
I do agree with you on the fact that Embiid probably is going to be right at the very top of this, but I feel like they're looking for some change. They had Gobert for so long. Now we're going to look over at Bam. And I think that this is the year of the Miami Heat, and I will explain that shortly, but it just feels like with Kyle Lowry becoming the new leader on that team, and I know not like leader because obviously Jimmy's a leader, but having another voice, a veteran, an NBA champion on that roster, I feel like Bam is going to have the opportunity to shine, and I think this Heat team is really going to shine this year.
Yeah, I agree. So we will combine Most Improved Player and Sixth Man of the Year because Dave and I have the same guy for both of them. We have Tyler Hero both winning Most Improved Player and Sixth Man of the Year. My only worry is if he is as good as I think he will be this year, will he be the sixth man for the entire season? That is the only question mark. I think he will because I don't think they're going to play him and Duncan together to start.
Yeah.
And they need somebody to run that bench unit, and he kind of has to be that guy this year. But I think we're both just astronomically high on Tyler Hero as a bounce back year this season.
Yeah, and he's shown a lot of promise in the preseason, which I think is why we have that faith in him. And I know you usually don't take much stock, if any stock, in preseason numbers, but
some fan bases do.
Some fan bases do, and they're right to, because when you look at the talent out there being displayed and the level of disparity between the teams, they're just causing these massive.
Tyler Hero is going to have a great year.
But in all honesty, because of the fact that Victor Oladipo is going to be out for the majority of this year, he will be doing the heavy lifting on the bench for scoring. I don't believe you can play Duncan Robinson without Kyle Lowry successfully. I think you need a true creator out there for Duncan to be successful, as we've seen last year when they were playing him in these weird multi-wing lineups without a true point guard out there. He did struggle. He wasn't able to find his shot. So I think that Hero is probably going to come in huge for this year, both off the bench and then, like I said, most improved player. It seems like he's going to put up 20 a night.
Somebody said that Kobe White snubbed for sixth man.
No.
Don't you dare.
I have a comment, but I will not make it.
What's your comment, Dave?
Nope, not saying it.
You're going to make it now. We're not moving on until you make the comment.
Alex Caruso.
No. Ricky chimes in with the Alex Caruso comment.
Sixth man of the year. Put a $3 bet on it. Put a $3 bet on it. Let's go. Small sprinkle on the Caruso.
Tyler Hero is definitely not the most hyped player in the league. It's much farther than that. I mean, the hype that Alex Caruso is getting from Bulls fans and that THT gets from Laker fans, it is much different. And RJ Barrett gets from Knicks fans. There's a lot of players that get overhyped. I'm
And
not
every
sure.
single fan of the fucking Raptors is saying OG Anunoby's most improved player of the year. Like, it's just there's a lot of big, loud fan bases.
Shout from Jamie, Mo Bamba. If he gets the playing time, which he has been in the
Okay.
preseason,
Yes,
that is
the
a
shit I
candidate.
love.
That is
Yes,
a candidate. I agree.
because Mo hasn't had the chance to shine because he doesn't get consistent playing time this year. Even though, weirdly, Wendell Carter already signed an extension. I did not understand that one.
It's asset retention. I mean, they can trade. That's a tradable contract at $12.5 million per year. So
I guess
I understand.
It makes
the
sense
deal.
for a bench center.
Yeah.
I just Mo Bamba's got a chance to shine out this year, and you absolutely are right, Jamie.
I agree. So Tim said $3, Ricky. Think of your family. Last award, both of us for regular season MVP. Who do you have for regular season MVP?
I mean, this is an easy choice for me. It's Luka Doncic. He almost won it last year. Don't think he should have, but it was a case of like, how hard can you carry a team? And I think that he'll do it again this year, just with better numbers.
Yeah, that's fair. I have Giannis Antetokounmpo winning MVP. I just don't like to bet against him. I just think he's going to go down as one of the best players in NBA history, especially the trajectory that he's going on. I find it hard to bet against him. He's looked phenomenal in the preseason.
He has a jump shot.
A shocker. It's like when a player wants to get better and works on
something
his
about
it. He can actually learn to shoot the. Okay, I don't know what that's like, to be honest. On to the next. I never had a problem with shooting like Ben said. On to the play-in games. So, Dave, will you run me through your Eastern Conference play-in games first?
Sure. So my Eastern Conference play-in games would work out like this. It would be the Knicks versus the Wizards as the 7th versus 8th seed. I have the Knicks winning that. And then the 9 versus 10 matchup would be the Celtics and the Hornets, and I have the Celtics winning that one. Which leads to the awesome play-in final game of Celtics and Wizards. And I know that this is a rivalry where the pieces aren't there anymore, but I want to bring up the fact that we had like the blackout game, like the funeral games. Do you remember that shit?
Yep.
So good. Give me the John Wall, Bradley Beal hatred vibes against that team. Oh, I love those. But I do have the Celtics over the Wizards. I believe that Jason Tatum is a fucking monster, and that is why they will win. Even though the Wizards have a super intriguing roster, it's flying below a lot of people's radars.
Yeah, Jason Tatum with the most points in a play-in game in NBA history after one season of play-in games. Didn't he have I think he had 57 or something like that. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was something dumb like that. Wasn't it the most points in NBA in a playoff game? What? I thought it was Jordan with 51 and then Tatum broke it.
I don't know.
I could be wrong. Somebody in the chat, if you want to correct me, I knew it was something like that. My play-in games, the 6 and the 7 seed, the Bulls and the Knicks. I have the Bulls over the Knicks. My 9-10, I have the. Why are you shaking? Stop making me laugh.
Team.
The 9 and the 10, I have the Hornets over the Pacers, and then the game for the 8 seed. I don't even know how to word that. The 8 seed gaming, whatever the hell it is. It is the Knicks versus the Hornets, and I have the Knicks winning. So that would mean in mine, I have the Bulls coming out as the 7 seed and the Knicks coming out as the 8 seed. Do we do we run through the Eastern Conference first, or do we do our Western play-in games and then do all the first round?
I don't care. It all doesn't make sense to me.
Let's do the Western Conference play-ins. I'll go first this time. My 6 and 7, I have the Blazers versus the Grizzlies, and I have the Blazers winning that game. The 9 and the 10 is the Clippers and the Timberwolves. I have the Clippers winning that game, and that means the Clippers play the Grizzlies, and I have the Clippers winning that and becoming the 8 seed in the West. So that means I have the Blazers at 7 and the Clippers at 8.
For my Western Conference play-in games, the 7-8 matchup is going to be the Blazers and the T-Wolves, and I have the Blazers winning that one. No surprise. My 9-10 matchup is Clippers and Grizzlies, and I do have the Clippers winning that matchup, which leads me to a Clippers T-Wolves matchup for the play-in.
Ricky gave away our entire. I didn't know he was putting up the thing.
He's just doing the whole thing. So yeah, there you go. You got it.
I thought you were going with yours, so I put Jake's up, and then he stopped.
Y'all got our whole playoff picture.
Wow,
no,
we will
just
Jake's.
Just Jake's, Dave. Yours is good.
We're fine.
Jake didn't keep going.
So my play-in teams are the Blazers and the Clippers. Both made it in.
Okay, so we're gonna go through our entire playoffs now. So I will go first. This is gonna be a lot of talking. So in the first round in the Eastern Conference, I have the Bucks playing the Knicks, and I have the Bucks winning that series in 5. The 4-5 matchup is the Sixers and the Heat, and I have the Heat winning that series in 5. The 6 and the 3 is the Nets and the Celtics, and I have the Nets in 6. The Hawks play the Bulls in what would it be? 2 and 7. Yeah, 2 and 7. And I have and I have the Hawks in 6. The Bucks would play the Heat then in the second round, and I have the Bucks in 6. The Nets would play the Hawks. I have the Nets in 7. And then the Eastern Conference Finals would be the Bucks and the Nets, and I have the Bucks returning to the NBA Finals in 7 games. My Western Conference, the 1 and the 8 is the Jazz versus the Clippers. I have the Jazz in 6. My 2 and 7 is the Blazers and Suns, and I have the Blazers upsetting the Phoenix Suns in 6 games. The 4 and the 5 is Lakers Mavericks, and I have the Lakers in 7 games. The Nuggets would play the Warriors in the 6-3, and I have the Nuggets in 6. That means my second round matchups would be the Jazz and the Lakers, and the Nuggets and the Blazers. I have the Lakers in 6 and the Nuggets in 7, which would mean my Western Conference Finals is the Nuggets versus the Lakers, and I have the Nuggets upsetting the Lakers in 7 and going to the NBA Finals, which means my NBA Finals would be the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Denver Nuggets, and I have the Milwaukee Bucks repeating as NBA champions in 7 games, and Giannis Antetokounmpo would go home then with 3 MVPs, 2 Finals rings, and 2 Finals MVPs. GOAT status is what that would be. Dave?
You
No, not actually.
you take that back.
Not actually. Sorry, LeBron is still the GOAT. Dave, you go with your playoff predictions.
Oof. That got me heated, Jake. That got me heated. All right. My playoff predictions, I will go east into west, so I will start top of the east. So I have Jazz versus Clippers in the 1-8 matchup, and I do have the Jazz moving on from that. I like the Clippers, but again, with Kawhi's unknown status, I cannot bet on that happening. Am I reading the West first? Whatever I am. I don't care.
Does not matter. Go ahead. Do whichever you want.
Mavericks over the Warriors. You would think so, but then I said no. Warriors are going to move on because this is a full-staffed Warriors team. Clay's going to be healthy. This is going to be playoff insanity from the Warriors yet again. Then it goes down to the Nuggets and the Lakers. I do have the Lakers beating the Nuggets. Unlike you, you had in the Western Conference Finals. I have this happening in a first-round matchup, which would be super exciting. Super exciting, but I do have the Lakers winning that. And then Suns over the Blazers in the first round because I, like chat, think you're crazy for thinking the Blazers could beat the Suns.
Listen, okay, I was going to say, listen, these are preseason predictions. Most of these are going to be wrong. I just want to have some fun, all right? Just let me alone.
That's fine. So my second round of the Western Conference, I do have the Jazz and the Warriors matching up, and I think the Warriors are going to steamroll the Jazz in 6, even though the Jazz are amazing. Love the Jazz. Warriors full strength, can't fucking touch them though. Lakers, Suns, you're gonna watch the Lakers win. They just have more talent than the Suns do. The Suns got lucky last year making it through without injuries and all that bullshit. So I am taking the Lakers in this matchup.
Are you saying the Suns are Mickey Mouse?
Mickey Mouse, which means Lakers, Warriors. Literally the Western Conference Finals that everyone wants to see. That is the matchup that everybody wants. Everybody wants to see Warriors, Lakers, full strength. Correct. Who would win out? I have the Warriors winning out because I'm a fucking G. 1-8 in the East is going to be Bucks Celtics. I think the Bucks just kick the shit out of Celtics. I'll be honest, it's not a great matchup.
Not even close.
Then we move on down to the Nets and the Heat. I think this will be a great matchup actually because I think that if both teams are full of strength, this will be a super tight matchup. Superstars versus defense, effort, hustle, everything about it. Spo wins out. Give me the Heat. Continuing down, we got Bulls and Sixers. Bulls are going to win a tough series of 5 games. Gentlemen sweep. Suck a dick, Sixers fans. Then we go down to the Hawks, Knicks at the very bottom of this bracket. I think the Hawks are just a much deeper, much better basketball team than the Knicks are. I don't know if the Knicks have solved their problem with Kemba. Again, not betting on that. So Hawks move on. So Eastern Conference semis, we got Bucks Heat. I got the upset here. I got the Heat over the Bucks, and then I've got the Hawks beating the Bulls in a hard series. Which brings me to my Eastern Conference Finals. Heat, Hawks. Awesome setup. I think the Heat will win this series. I think that the defensive effort of having 2 incredible defensive guard guys being able to lock down Trey and force other people to beat them, that'll just be too much. So we go Heat Warriors in the NBA Finals. I almost did a Mickey Mouse repeat, and I was like, give me the Heat Lakers. Give me the Heat Lakers. I want the Mouse House to be back for part 2. But I couldn't do it. The Warriors are just too damn good. But you know what they're not too damn good for? The NBA Finals, where they lose to the Miami Heat.
Jimmy is getting his ring.
Jimmy gets his ring. Cal grants the ring to Miami. Spo puts another ring on.
That'd be a great story. So, main talking points. I would go through. There's so much to talk about, but the Heat and the Bucks would be a very fun series. Even though the Bucks basically dominated this year, the series. A lot of the games were still somewhat entertaining, like especially the first game. That game was crazy. I don't know if this Heat team, again, there's a lot of X factors and things that have to go right for this Heat team to succeed. And if they do go right, yes, your predictions could be 100% true and they could win the NBA Finals. But is the caboose Kyle Lowry going to make dramatic change that much that they are going to go from being bounced in the first round to winning an NBA title?
I think that it's Kyle Lowry plus the addition of PJ Tucker plus watching Tyler Hero get better another year. Again, I'm saying they're gonna have the defensive player of the year, they're gonna have the sixth man of the year / most improved player of the year. Like I'm kind of on two big steps happening this upcoming year. And it's not like Bam is coming out of nowhere for defensive player of the year. He was number 5 in voting last year overall, so he's not like a dark horse or outside shot or anything. He legitimately deserves to be there because he's a fucking monster. So, I think that defensively adding PJ and Kyle is huge. And then offensively adding Tyler Hero to take that next step. My words are slurring.
We've recorded about 7 hours of footage in the last 4 days. So this is why Dave
is not filled with water.
This is why Dave can't talk. I get what you mean with the Heat. I could see it to a degree. Again, I have the Bucks Heat in the same second round matchup. I just took the Bucks in 6. I think the Bucks. Listen,
They're
we
so
talked
good.
about. They literally got better. They literally listen. Dante DiVincenzo didn't even play after the first round last year because he was hurt. They get him back, which is a huge addition, a huge role player to get back. Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton, they are great complementary pieces. I know for a long time, people most people thought you couldn't win a title with them as the number 2 and 3. Turns out that Giannis is just the fucking best. He's
and you had the tough, gritty, slightly dirty player in Grayson Allen,
who is a very good role player and is an upgrade on Bryn Forbes because he actually plays defense.
Massive.
And he can put the ball on the court.
Yes.
Interesting. Again, the Eastern Conference, I think the Eastern Conference, besides the Bulls, I think we have a pretty. Are we the same in the second round? Let me look here. You have the Bucks and Heat, Bulls, Hawks. So the only team that we disagree on is the Nets. Yeah, so you have the Heat over the Nets.
Out to the Heat, yeah.
Okay, so the only team that we disagree on is the Bulls. I'm not having that discussion. So the Western Conference, making it past.
Howard, Jake.
We're gonna have the discussion 55 times during the regular season, so I don't need to do it.
Give the people what they want.
No, they're gonna have to come back for what they want. So the second round, in the Western Conference, I have Jazz, Lakers, Nuggets, Blazers. You have Jazz, Warriors, Lakers, Suns. So a lot of differing opinions here in the Western Conference. The Suns, in my mind, would have made it past the first round last year. They probably if I was being completely reasonable, yes, they probably beat the Blazers, but I wanted to have some fun and not just go chalk and pick the Suns. And somebody's going to get upset. And the Suns are that team where I know they made the finals, but in every round they looked beatable at some point. I felt like this team could lose any point in the playoffs. And the Blazers are just a team, man. If things go right and they can acquire some bench pieces in the regular season before the deadline, Damian Lillard is just that guy. I'm sorry. He is just that guy. CJ McCollum, while I'm on him next to Dame, it can win some
new Sixer, CJ McCollum.
For Tobias Harris, sure, he's never going to get traded for Ben Simmons. No, we'll make this. It'll never happen. Thank you. Yeah, and listen, the chat is already bringing up Joel Embiid asking for a trade. I'm like, my guys, he just signed a contract literally this summer.
So did Ben Simmons, and Ben Simmons.
I'm not having the Ben Simmons discussion either here because we're talking about NBA predictions, not Ben Simmons. We're in the Western Conference. How did that even just happen?
Western Conference, a potential team he could be playing on in the Western Conference Finals. No, not Finals.
Wait, what?
First round.
First
round.
I
apologize. I got too excited.
So I guess the talking point for me would be obviously the Denver Nuggets. Very high on the Denver Nuggets this year. Yeah. I'm very high on Mike Malone. I have been for a long time. Yep. I just think Nikola Jokic played so well in the playoffs last year, and obviously I think they could have made the finals last year if Jamal Murray was healthy.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that. I think we even had the discussion on this podcast. I said they are the best team in the Western Conference, and I still believe if Jamal Murray comes back, that bench unit is so good, and that starting lineup with the role that Aaron Gordon plays when Jamal Murray is healthy and he does not have to play a primary scoring role, he plays a primary defensive role with an off ball with a lot of off ball movement. He is so effective in that role that I think that this team, I think they genuinely could make the finals. Now, if the Lakers make the finals, would I be shocked? No. Honestly, if any of the teams outside of the Blazers made the finals in my Western Conference playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised. The Jazz, Clippers, Lakers, Mavericks, Nuggets, Warriors, or Suns. If Kawhi comes back, the Clippers could make it.
The Mavs are the one I'm going to asterisk.
The Mavs are going to asterisk, but you know why?
That's the team that I'm like, I will give them all the credit in the world. I will give Luka all the credit in the world. They are not a finals team.
If Porzingis comes back to his form that he's shown now in the preseason, and I'm not predicting them to go to the finals. I have them losing in the first round. And I saw Jamie say in chat, who's going to contain Luka? You don't have to contain Luka because, like we saw in the playoffs last year, in the second half, Luka's exhausted because of how much he has to play in the first half. That the second half, the Lakers have so many guys who can get buckets. Yes, I know the Lakers are old, but they have so many guys who can just score, flat out score, that they can outscore the Mavericks pretty easily if we see the same thing we saw this previous year with the Mavericks in the playoffs.
The big difference is Luka last year didn't have the ability to condition himself for the NBA season due to COVID. He was locked basically up without being around his team. And he basically got moved over. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't have an offseason to condition yourself. So that was the problem.
6 months later in the playoffs. Like,
now he's had the offseason. He's gotten 100% again. He's in basketball shape. He's in condition to play an entire season, unlike someone on your team who has not been conditioned to play basketball. Who had to sit out the final preseason
game. Why are we talking about my team? Why are we talking about the Six in the Western? He's not going to play on Wednesday either because he's reconditioning.
Yeah, what's that about? He's reconditioning.
I don't know. He's reconditioning to try not to be a bitch. I think that's what that is. I don't know. Like, I don't care. Why are we talking about this when we're talking about Luka?
Because I have one job.
Luka is incredible, and he had one of the best first couple years from a young player.
He's literally on trajectory to be one of the greatest players of all time. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. He is one of the most talented players of all time. We're watching, I can't say it this year, but it's literally Patrick Mahomes and Luka were in like tandem with each other. They were just going GOAT status right next to each other the entire time. I think the Western Conference boils down to legitimately 4 teams. Yes, I know people are going to be mad at me for not saying the Suns, but I think if the Warriors get healthy, they're finals contenders.
That's the team that I put them there because I believe truly that Klay will return to be Klay that we knew.
Yes.
And at that point, the only thing they need is like, if Wiseman's not broken piece of shit, they have a fucking legit starting squad that is like not to be fucked with at all. And then a bench unit where you can have someone like Jordan Poole who can step up, Moses Moody who's putting in all the effort in the world. Did you see those two put back offensive rebound dunks where he looks like he's gonna die on the floor after he gets it in? Like, that is infectious. That play style is so much fun, and I think that is why.
There's a Dollar General version of exactly. Stop. J-Dub. First of all, hi J-Dub. John.
Yep.
He asked when you're going to put someone on your wall, Dave.
Do you want wall? I'll get you some wall material.
So I will say, I'm going to wait for Dave to come back because I don't want to make a too big prediction before he's here. I will say I think the X factor in the Western Conference is if Kawhi comes back and the Clippers are healthy come playoff time. If Kawhi comes back, they are a team that could be a finals contender. Now, we just don't know. I know some people have said March. Some people have said that Kawhi won't even play in the regular season and that he'll just play in the postseason. I'm not sure I'm willing to bet on a team that's best player doesn't play in the regular season. I don't know what Dave is doing right now. He's moving his chair up. This is what happens when you don't script something. Dave is now moving a stand over. Is he going to put a whiteboard down? That's what I thought he was doing. That's what I thought he was doing.
Now he's going to write all over it. You know what's going to happen, Jake.
Yeah,
you knew this was going to happen.
This just turned to shit. Listen, I tried to avoid this.
He's going to write some message. He's going to draw a dick on there.
Something like that. Here we go. Let's see what he's writing.
We can't see. It's too high.
Oh, no, you can see it. Sixers. Oh, my God.
Suck.
Yeah, there we go. Bulls beta. Is that what oh, no. What does that say? Ben's a bitch. I mean, that's true. That's true. I don't disagree with that. He's definitely a bitch. Yeah, we're just commentating you right now, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, anything else that's relevant you want me to toss about on that board?
The first line's wrong. The second line, I completely agree with. You're just spitting
the first line's not wrong because they're not a championship caliber team, and you have Joel Embiid, your defensive player.
So Dave's been serving me because
should we put up their? Should we put up the Doc's a choke artist? Is that up there?
Oh yeah, Doc's a choke artist. That's fine. Yeah, that's good. That's a good one. We're 2 for 3 now. I do agree. The next 2 lines. That's a good thing. Rumors are okay. Trying to actually bring this conversation a little bit back. Retro does says that the rumor is for Kawhi February. I think I'll more believe it when I see it. I will say, Dave, when you were gone, what I was saying was that I think the one X factor in the Western Conference, 2 X factors really, the Warriors with Klay, but then if Kawhi does come back and gets some regular season playing time and they're healthy come playoff time, then that team becomes a little bit interesting.
I literally heard you say words, but I didn't understand any of them.
Clippers if Kawhi comes back. Clippers if Kawhi comes back becomes interesting.
Yes. Yeah, I 100% agree with that sentiment because Kawhi Leonard is still one of the best mid-range shooters in the NBA, one of the best
players in the
offensive
NBA.
players. Yeah, I was going to get there. I was going to build up.
Okay, I was
Build
gonna
up.
say
He's one of the best mid-range shooters. He's incredible in the clutch. He has the ability to take it up a notch in the playoffs, and his defense is insane. So, with all that said, yeah, having him back on your roster is great. It's just, can you count on Reggie Jackson to be a point guard
exactly
for this offseason, or do you think last season was a fluke? And that's the problem is the overwhelming evidence says he's not going to shoot above 40% from three on that high of volume. Again, if he does, like, might have to make like a tattoo bet. I saw a tattoo in chat. That's why I have to do tattoo bet. But like, I just don't believe it's going to happen because everything we've seen on Reggie Jackson has said that he's a selfish chucker. So it's hard to think that he's going to all of a sudden, after 10 games, be this different player.
Yes, I agree. So let's somewhat bring a wrap up to this whole excursion.
Sure.
Ricky, if you could, I you don't have to answer. Just throw up our graphics once again. Throw up mine first. These will be my playoff predictions once again for the beginning of the season. You know what we'll do, Dave, too? And then throw up Dave's. Dave's will be second, his playoff predictions. Once we get to the All-Star break, we'll react to these and do a secondary prediction. You know what I mean?
Yes, I am all in on that.
So we can like do it throughout periods of the season, or we could do it like at a quarter at the All-Star break and at 3 quarters. And then obviously before the playoffs, we always do our predictions, but reactionary because most likely these predictions will be completely wrong by the time we get to the midseason because some injury will happen, something will happen.
Dude, Retro, saying Bledsoe is your point guard, Reggie is it too, doesn't make it any better.
Bledsoe's not good. I'm sorry. Bledsoe's not a point guard either. I stick by that. He's a wing who can shoot effectively in very, very small periods of time because his 3-point shot is very inconsistent. Defensively, Eric Bledsoe's
he gets so much worse in the playoffs.
Yeah, every year.
Look at his playoff stats. It's incredible.
Do you remember
how terrible a player he is?
The Bucks signed him to that 4-year deal and then traded him for Drew Holiday and then won an NBA title.
Yeah. That says it all right there.
Yeah, it literally says it all how much better. Like, Drew Holiday is what Eric Bledsoe was supposed to be, and Eric Bledsoe is like, I'm trying to think of a good comparison for him. He's like Sean Livingston post-injury. Yeah, that's about. He might be worse than that, honestly.
He shoots worse, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's kind of disrespectful to Sean Livingston.
Andre Roberson, but who could pass?
Yeah, okay, yeah, Andre Roberson, but can pass, but also a worse defender because Roberson was like Roberson was like elite of elite. You're
right. He was basically him and Tony Allen were always 1-2. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Those are our 2021-2022 NBA predictions. Before we go, again, for everybody here, first of all, thank you for tuning in. You will be seeing a lot more live streams throughout the year. So again, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell down below.
My God, Jin, I need to stop your outro. He just said Giddey is a better passer than Cooper.
Correct.
He is
You are correct.
incredibly wrong.
You are correct about that. You are correct about that. Nobody can hear Dave because he's been server muted. I'm trying to get this. I'm kidding.
No! Gotta put on the board. Gotta put on the board, man.
So, we did 6 plus hours of divisional previews. Those videos will be going out in the next 48 hours leading up to the tip-off of the NBA season on Tuesday night. Hit that bell down below to get notified, first of all, when we go live throughout the season and when a new video goes live. Hit the Patreon down below and the channel memberships. You can get content a week earlier than it will be on YouTube for certain, mostly giraffe content throughout the season. Now, if you check down there, and also our Discord down below. Join the best community in the world. If you see what this comment section is like, this is what the Discord is like, basically 24/7. I wake up for work at 8 a.m. and I see messages from like 4:30 in the morning. People just on a Tuesday night being up that early or late. Dave looks like he wants to say something. Dave, do you want to say anything before we go?
No, I have nothing left to say. I'm pretty much emptied out at this point. I just keep reading chat. I can't not read chat. I'm sorry.
That'll do it for our preseason content. It'll be going live again. Check out the 6 videos. Leave a like. Hit that bell again. We appreciate all the support, and we will be here for content all season long. Draft content, regular season content, whatever you want. Yeah, and for Dave and I want to thank everybody for watching again. It's very good to be back and be live and talking NBA content, and I hope everybody has a great day.